Hey y'all, good night. That sounds so weird. I normally go live super early in the morning, but I'm coming to you at night this time. I'm coming to you at night this time. I had a couple of topics that I wanted to try doing as a night, not as a night series, to kind of see if you guys were even awake. You would think that doing lives at 8 a.m., no one's awake, but that's when y'all are awake. So we're going to try this new time and kind of see how it goes. Tonight, we're talking about how to market your VA or OBM service as a need. Let me drop that title down here in the bottom. Oh, goodness. Hold on. Let me copy the title and paste it as a pen in the bottom, so that anybody who comes in and out knows what we're talking about. Boom. I'm gonna pin that down there. So if you are a VA or an OBM, just drop me an emoji or something in the chat. VA stands for virtual assistant. If you're new here, OBM stands for online business manager. So if you fill one of those two roles or positions and you have clients on retainer right now where you help them complete a certain amount of work each month in order for them to, continue to run their business with ease, I'm talking to you tonight. And that's mainly who I'm going to be talking to over the next couple of weeks as I go into the event in January. So I am hosting a 1 day systems and sales intensive on January 14th in Atlanta, Georgia. If you have not grabbed your ticket, make sure you go and get it. It is going to help you map out profitable systems for your own business and then also for your client's business, which is a really great to make your role recession proof, which I'm going to be talking about on Friday as well. So for tonight, let's go ahead and jump into this because there is like this looming, a lot of speculations around who is going to have clients and who's not going to have clients. But I believe as a virtual assistant and an online business manager, there are a lot of things you can do to make yourself irreplaceable and recession proof your position. When it comes to small businesses and going into a recession or looming recession, whatever you want to call it, you can choose not to participate, right? Like you can elect to say, even though the economy is all over the place, I'm still going to be able to make a lot of money as a virtual assistant, a lot of money as an online business manager. Even if you're in like one of the sub pockets, like a social media manager, there are a lot of ways that you can still make money, if not make more money during one of those economic, downturns. A lot of people thought that the pandemic was going to be this horrible, the pandemic itself. If y'all remember at the very beginning, everybody really thought that the pandemic was going to be just this horrible time where nobody was going to work and were getting laid off, because they were. People were getting laid off and we were just going to be in this horrible recession because nobody was spending money. Then what happened during the pandemic? Y'all know what happened. Y'all remember. It was crazy. Making so much money in the online business space, e-commerce, virtual assistants, coaches, everything went through a boom to the point where we started calling the pandemic a bandemic. I don't know if y'all know that, but we were calling the pandemic a bandemic because that's how much money was being made during the pandemic in the positions that we hold as virtual assistants and online managers. It was crazy. So, this economic thing that's about to happen, whatever it is, whether it is or isn't about to happen, it's going to be the same exact situation. Online business managers, virtual assistants, and coaches thrive during economic downturn. You would think that, oh my gosh, this is a want, not a need, right? You think that, and this is a mindset shift that you're going to have to work on and get out of, but you may think, oh, no one needs what I have to offer. So in a pandemic or in a recession, I'm going to be the first thing that gets cut off the bills. You may think that because of what you do. You may think that because of how much you charge. But tonight we're going to talk about how you can market yourself as a need. That way you don't get cut. I'm also hosting a free workshop. If you're a virtual assistant or an OBM, I'm hosting a free workshop on Friday morning where we're going to talk about the steps you can take to recession proof your business. And you can click the link in my bio and go grab a seat in that free workshop. Okay. Now, let's talk about marketing services as a need. There's a difference in between a need and a want. What changes in a recession, I keep wanting to say a pandemic, but what changes in a recession is not the amount of money people are spending, it's the way people spend their money. People are still spending money in a recession. People are always going to spend. There is nothing that is going to stop people from spending money, because you know what happens when people slow down spending money. What does the government do? They give us money. They give us money. It happened during the pandemic. It happened during the bailout with the companies. People slowed down their money spending, and the government stepped in and gave an influx of cash. There was inflation, and then it took a little bit of time for things to come back to normal. That's how it works in America. If you're somewhere else, it probably doesn't work like that. But here in America, and if you have clients in America, that's pretty much how it works. But people do not slow down spending money; they just spend their money in different places. Okay. So what happens is people start thinking, if we're going into a recession and things are now costing a lot more than they used to, I need to be strategic about how I spend my money and where I spend my money. So it's important for you as a VA or an OBM to market yourself as a need and not a want. That way, your job doesn't get cut and you don't lose clients. Okay. So there's three things I have on this list that you can do. Number one is you can hone in on the version of your ideal client that understands how to thrive in a recession market. So you already have a description of your ideal client, however niche it is or is not, is up to you. But you need to hone in on the version of your ideal client that understands how to thrive in a recession market. Now, sometimes that's just saying, hey, you can choose whether or not you want to be in a recession. And there's a subset of your clients who are going to be like, you know what? I choose not to participate in this recession. And they're going to keep you on as a team member as long as you're being efficient and productive and you're bringing in some type of ROI, which we'll talk about on a completely different time. I'm actually talking about that more in depth at the event in January. But you have to hone in on the version of your ideal client that is mentally strong enough to understand thriving in a recession market is a choice. Everything you do in business is a choice. When I say I decide not to participate in the recession, that means that just because everyone else has decided that they're going to experience lack, that does not mean that I'm going to experience lack. And what I'm going to do, instead of laying down and saying, oh, it's the recession, nobody's going to buy from me, I am making a mental decision to step up to the plate and say, they're not going to be buying the same way they were before, but they're going to be buying in a different way. And I'm going to be present in that different way so that I can continue to cash in on the skills and abilities that I have, because they're still worth money, right? The fact that there is something happening in the economy has nothing to do with how profitable your skills are as a VA or an OBM. So honing in on the version of your ideal client that understands how to thrive in a recession market is super important. Okay, super important. Those people who understand how to thrive in a recession market have a stronger mindset. There's sometimes people who have a stronger mindset. They have different money beliefs. There are people that are in different industries. So, for example, if you're a VA or an OBM and your ideal client right now is a mompreneur, you may want to hone in on mompreneurs in the trucking industry, or you may want to hone in on mompreneurs in e-commerce, or you may want to hone in on mompreneurs in the health industry, because those are all industries that thrive during economic downturn. And so you're just boop, plugging yourself in to areas and pockets where the money is continuing to flow, if not overflowing, depending on the economic situation. All right. I'm gonna give you one more example because this really happened and a lot of people can see this. There were not a lot of VAs and OBMs for coaches, for nurses until the pandemic. Because when the pandemic hit, a lot of the needs of nurses became very prevalent, and so we saw an influx of coaches, life coaches for nurses, business coaches for nurses, transition coaches that would help you transition out of your nursing job into some other career position, maybe at a company or even into some other entrepreneurial venture. So we saw a flux, an influx of coaches for nurses. And because there was an influx of coaches for nurses, we also got an influx need of VAs and OBMs that served nurse coaches and VAs and OBMs that served nurses. So you have a general target audience, you have a specific ideal client, and then outside of that, honing in on the subset inside of your client, like the super niche that knows how to thrive in a recession market and or is in a business that thrives in a recession market. So that's the first one. The second thing is talk about the cost of not working with you. I did this today in one of my posts. There is a cost to your clients when they decide not to work with you. People need virtual assistants and they need OBMs because they have a lot of work on their plate that they cannot do by themselves. When you understand how to communicate what people are missing out on by not having a VA and not having an OBM, you then become a need and your job becomes recession proof. Okay, it becomes recession proof. But talking about the cost of not working with you, sometimes that means talking about the money they're wasting by not working with you. Sometimes that's talking about the time they're wasting by not working with you. Sometimes that's talking about all of the things that are taking them so long to get done and taking them so long to bring to fruition and launch because they do not have the extra support they need. So, talking about the cost of not working with you is going to position your service as a VA or OBM as a need. And entrepreneurs are going to understand that when they read your content and they your blog posts, your emails, your social media, they're going to say, oh my gosh, I really need a VA or an OBM. I can figure out strategically how to make sure that they're paid, but this is something that I cannot get rid of. It doesn't matter if the economy's up, if the economy's down, I cannot get rid of this VA. I cannot get rid of this OBM because this person is essential to how I run my business. And that is the position you want to get into. And it's crazy that I am teaching this right now because that's what entrepreneurs want. Like when they go hire a virtual assistant or an OBM, they want you to be so good at your job and so skilled that they don't have to replace you. And the price has nothing to do with it, right? Like I'm not saying doing what they told you to do because sometimes, a lot of times, entrepreneurs don't know how to communicate with their VAs or their OBMs. But if you are, not fulfilling the needs because sometimes they have needs that they don't state, sometimes they have needs that they do state. But if you are not able to fulfill both categories of those needs, then they're going to feel like they could just get rid of you and find another VA or get rid of you and find another OBM. And it doesn't work like that. What happens is they end up getting another one and another one and another one and another one, and it doesn't work. So I'm teaching this entire series to educate you guys on how to get clients and keep those clients and retain those clients, regardless of what's going on in the economy. So, talking about the cost of not working with you is a really important factor to position yourself as a need in the market. The last thing, the third thing, is to invest in an irreplaceable skill set and highlight that in your marketing. General VA saying, I'm a VA, I can do all the things. It's not going to work. Not in a recession market. It's not going to work. Okay. You have to cultivate an irreplaceable skill set, meaning you are doing some type of a service, whether VA or OBM, you're doing some type of a service for your clients that they cannot do themselves, some type of a service that is not easily replaceable, something that they don't want to have to go find somebody else to do. That requires you to invest in your skill set and then highlight that in your marketing. So if you go get a certification, you need to talk about it. If you go get a certification, you need to talk about it in your marketing so that people understand that you've taken the time to level up and you're not just a general VA or a general OBM like everybody else on the market. Then they start to realize, oh, I don't want to just work with any VA or any OBM. I need to work with this VA. I need to work with this OBM. Y'all understand? Like me, people come to me and they want to work with me. They don't want to work with anybody else because they can see that I've invested in an irreplaceable skill set and a skill set that is not easy to find. And so that comes through education, that comes continuing education, right? Not just, oh, I'm really good at what I do, so I don't need to go to any more classes. I don't need to get any more certifications. I don't need to go through any more programs. No, go through the program, go through the certification, showcase your skill set in your marketing, make sure that your price is in alignment with that, and people will pay you. People do not have a problem paying you as a VA or OBM. They do not have a problem paying you if it makes logical sense. You have a skill set that's irreplaceable and you're doing something that they can't do for themselves, and that contributing to the bottom line. If you're coming into someone's business, right, they're going to bring you on, they're going to have things that they want you to do, right? There's two ways you could do this. Someone could DM you or go through your process and they could bring you on and they can be in the driver's seat, right? They're like, this is what I need done. I need this, and this. At that point, whatever they want to pay you is what they want to pay you. You can give them another price that's a little higher. They may take it, they may not take it. What you need to do as a virtual assistant and an OBM is to put yourself in the driver's seat. You are coming in as an additional person to help that entrepreneur grow and scale their business. So if they come into your ecosystem and you say, hey, this is how we start off things. We start by doing a systems assessment. We look at your operations. We talk about your goals. We look at the things that you want me to get done for you. And then we make some recommendations in addition to the things that you know you need done that are going to add to your bottom line. Things that we can do for you that are going to add to your bottom line. They're either going to make you money or save you time. Here's what those things look like. This is the price that it's going to cost you month to month, or this is the price for the project. They'll take it, right? They'll take it. But you can't do that if you haven't invested in an irreplaceable skill set and you're not highlighting that in your marketing and putting yourself in the driver's seat. Realize that you're not just a doer. You can also be a thinker, right? You can also be a thinker. That's what makes you irreplaceable. Okay, so those are my 3 things for you: how to market your VA or OBM service as a need, hone in on the version of your ideal client that understands how to thrive in a recession market. Number 2, talk about the cost of not working with you. And number 3, invest in an irreplaceable skill set and highlight that in your marketing. All right, if you found this helpful and you are a virtual assistant or OBM or even an EA, because this is for EAs too, because you are working in teams. If you're working in teams, this is for you. Make sure you go click the link in my bio and grab your free seat at my workshop on Friday. I'm having a workshop on Friday. It's Friday morning. It is during the day. It's Friday morning, but make sure you go grab your free seat in that workshop. I'm going to give you 5 steps that you need to recession-proof your VA or OBM business. I promise you, you're going to want this information. If you wait until people are already talking about it, some people are already starting to panic. A lot of people in entrepreneurship are already pivoting, because if you wait until it happens, if you wait until the day the president comes on television and says, OMG, you guys, we're in a recession, he ain't gonna say it like that. But if you wait for the day when he comes on TV and says, we're in a recession, it's going to be too late. If you wait until more news stories and more news stories about people losing their job and more news stories about people hiring, like it's crazy out here. The longer you wait, the harder it's going to be for you to make the shift. It doesn't mean offering a bunch of new services. It doesn't mean having to scrap the whole thing and recreate the wheel. It's just a repositioning, it's a pivot, and it's an investment in yourself, right? But it starts with the free class. It starts with a free class. So come to the free workshop on Friday. I'm going to give you the steps to recession proof your business. I see Victoria said, I'm a copywriter and social media manager, and this was helpful. Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. A lot of this in my VA OBM series does apply to all service-based businesses. It does. But I know VAs and OBMs are more towards like general tasking, operations, sales, etc. Um, and so that's why I'm speaking to them. But it is helpful. It does help. So make sure y'all go register for that free class. Get a seat because there are a limited number of seats. I will see y'all Friday. I'm gonna go live again before then, but I will see y'all Friday on a private Zoom webinar because I'm gonna be giving all the goods. It's a 90-minute free workshop. So make sure you clear out that 90 minutes in your schedule. No client work. This is time for you on Friday morning. All right. See y'all later.